What's up, superstars? Welcome back to my channel. As the title self-describes on this video, this is going to be yet another one in my DJ Khaled voice. Just recently, I went and I bit the bullet and I went and got my Daith pierced. Yes, my Daith, which would be this little cartilage right on the inner ear right here, as I showed you guys last time. Excuse my little laces lifted up because I ain't bothered to tack it down, okay? But the only thing that I'm not crazy about is the fact that even though it's in there, if you look closely in there, you'll see that the bottom ball of the screw dropped out of my ear, which I'm going to get to in a minute. I went this past Friday, which was September 27th, I believe, and I went and got my Daith pierced. My friend accompanied me, the one that I was telling you about that wouldn't come the first time. He came with me this time, and I went and got my Daith pierced by my same piercer, Gio. Shouts out to Gio at Generation X Tattoos and Piercing. And what can I say? It was interesting. That's basically all I can say about this particular piercing. It was different from my other ones. There was some slight pain with this one with the piercing going in, but it wasn't really that bad. My conch has been an absolute dream. It's past this healing period, so I'm getting ready to switch out my jewelry and my conch right here. This one right here, as of this Monday, it will be 3 months since I've had this one pierced also. I had them pierced close together so they'll, have about the same amount of healing time. This one, like I said, I just got done recently on the inside of my Daith. Some people commonly refer to it as Daith because it's easier for them to pronounce and it sounds better than Daith. Which would, if it was enunciated, it would be like D-O-T-H, but it's really D-A-I-T-H, which is Daith instead of Daith. But I spell it D-O-T-H because it's pronounced the way it would be read if you would have sounded out. Went and had it pierced. I'd have to say it was kind of unnerving, to say the least. I wouldn't really say it hurt. It was a lot of pressure. Tremendous amount of pressure, which made it uncomfortable. Painful? No. Uncomfortable? Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would I rate my pain level on this one? Everyone's pain is relative to them because everybody's pain tolerance is different. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, mine was pretty much a 6, believe it or not. Once again, it didn't hurt. It was just uncomfortable because of the pressure. It just really felt weird. The only part that hurt was not the needle going in, because they use a curved needle in order to get in there and pierce that piece of cartilage up in there. The part that kind of shook me was when the needle was coming out of the exit entry. That's when I felt the pain, and I'm sitting there like, woo, I almost jumped out of the chair. It took him a little bit of effort to get the ball in, because what he did was he pierced it from the bottom and went up through the top so that he wouldn't struggle to try to get the ball in the bottom if your ear canal is kind of closed or the anatomy of your ear won't allow for you to screw the ball at the bottom. So he pierced from the bottom and went through the top, and the top is where I felt the puncture. As far as people saying that they hear cartilage, being crunched when the needle goes through, I didn't really hear all of that. It was just a lot of pressure, The only part that really unnerved me was when, the needle was coming out of the top, and I really felt that, and I'm sitting there like, oh shit, And it took him a little bit of effort to screw the ball on through the top, because if you look at the anatomy of my ear, that's a really tight spot up in there, to get up in there to screw a ball in. So it took him about 4 or 5 tries to get that ball screwed in at the top. Once he got it in, I was pretty much straight. It was just really warm and throbby. It didn't really hurt even after the fact. The trouble started this past Friday, I believe. No, Thursday. I was cleaning my piercing, and as I always do, I take a Q-tip soaked, I take a Q-tip and soak it in salt water solution, sea salt solution, and I'm gently cleaning the top, and then I'm cleaning the bottom but my stupid behind wants to not dab around the entrance, the exit site where the needle is, the barbell is coming out of. I'm rubbing around the base of it, and I rubbed a little bit too vigorously, and the next thing you know, I unscrewed the ball off and it fell into the sink. I was mortified because at first I thought the ball was going to drop down the drain because I didn't pull up the drain stop. No, yeah, I pulled up the drain stop, so luckily for me, it didn't go down the drain. But I was just horrified that it came out because it was late at night. I knew I couldn't get it in on my own, especially with these long nails. I was not even about to attempt to try, okay? The only thing that I could do was patiently wait until the morning and pray that it did not slip out while I was asleep. Because I have a neck pillow, I was able to pretty much isolate that area of my ear so that it doesn't touch anything or rub back and forth and kind of, jar it out of place. So luckily for me, I was able to still sleep comfortably, but I made sure I got my ass to that salon the next morning because they opened up at 10 o'clock on the beach side. And Gio wasn't there, however. It was two other gentlemen that helped me. And it took them quite an effort to get the ball screwed on, but once they looked at it, they was like, well, the curved barbell is too short. My initial problem or issue with my piercing was, why couldn't I have gotten a captive ring? I would rather have the ring with the ball on it, in my piercing than to have to deal with a curved barbell to where you have both sides to where you have to screw the balls on. And if you F around and, do something to unscrew one of the balls off, the bar can slip out either through the bottom or the top. So I wasn't crazy about the fact that I even got a curved barbell in my ear at all. So they looked at my ear and determined that the bar was too short because my ear swelled up a lot. It's still swollen. And if you look at the bottom where the entry site is, I'm going to include a picture after this. You can see the difference between my left and my right ear. It's really swollen at the bottom where the barbell or the end of it is coming out of at the bottom, and it just is really, really big. So it would be hard for you to try to screw a ball up in there and get it on and reach the rest of the threading so that you can secure it like tightly. So that was an issue in itself. So they decided to go ahead and use a curved tool that's similar to a needle. I believe, it was a blunt, curved metal piece without the sharp end on it. And they put a new curved barbell, which was longer, on the end of that bar. And they followed through where Gio had pierced my ear, and they managed to get a longer bar in here, which is what's in here now. Even though my ear is swollen, they managed to get it in, and the gentleman, I'll get his name in a second because I forgot his name, it's slipping my mind right now. He basically told me it was screwed on tight and I didn't have any issues or worries, so I wouldn't have to worry about the ball dropping out again. However, after I left the salon, I caught up with a friend of mine. His name is TNT. I grew up with him. I went to 7-Eleven. I'm kicking it with him in front of the store, and we're talking. And all of a sudden, it felt like something flew in my ear. So I'm doing like this, like patting my ear, not realizing what had happened until I got home an hour later. I look in the mirror. First thing I did was look in the mirror. And to my dismay, the ball fell out the bottom of my damn barbell. Okay? Now I got an attitude because he assured me that it would not come out. Okay? And it fell out while I was talking to my friend, and I didn't do anything to agitate my piercing. I didn't touch it. I didn't move it. I didn't, traumatize it by bumping up against anybody or anything. It just fell out. So that let me know that he didn't secure it on there tightly because there's too much swelling in my ear in order to get it screwed all the way up to the part where the base of the bar is, where you got the threads that go to the bar, and he didn't screw it all the way up. But he assured me that he did. So now I gotta sit up here and deal with this crap, but I'm gonna try to see if I can get them to give me a captive ring instead, because at least if you're dealing with an enclosed ring that doesn't have any ends on it, except you got two different kinds. You have the rings to where you can bend them, like twist them either side like this and twist them back into place and close them together. And then you have the captive rings that have the balls on it to where you pretty much like get the piercing into the ear, and then you bring them close together as possible, and you screw one end of the bar into the ball, and it holds in place. Even if you can't screw it entirely, together to get them to connect, at least it's close enough together to where it's such a small margin or a gap, you don't worry about it falling out of your piercing. So I'm big mad, okay? Because I have to sit here and deal with this at least until I can get to Gio or one of the other, gentlemen in the salon. It's not really entirely their fault because my ear swole a lot. Like it's still swelled in there. So I can imagine the frustration, and then the angle that it's pierced at is almost like towards my inner ear. So it's kind of hard to get up in that tight spot and kind of screw it from the side, because most balls are screwed in directly into a piercing, not from a side to where you have to go in from a side angle and screw it in, because there are not ball grabbers, which are little tools that have little feet on the end of it that would grab the ball and you kind of screw it into place to lock it in place to screw it into a piercing. They don't make ones that screw in sideways like that. So I can kind of understand how it could be impossible to screw the ball on. My ear was hella sore, even though they managed to get a longer bar in, but now I just want a captive ring so I don't have to deal with this anymore, because it's a pain in the ass and I have to be watching it all the time and checking to see if it's coming up out of my ear. So it's annoying, but it's sitting right there where it's supposed to sit, and I just push it down, because at least if I push it down it doesn't hurt. But down at the bottom it does, because it's really swollen in there. But towards the top it doesn't really hurt. So when I clean it, I have to take my fingernail and hold the top of the ball like this and push it down, and then take my Q-tip and go around the base of the top of my piercing while I'm holding it down and try to squeeze in that spot as much as possible to get around that barbell. And at least that way, if I'm holding it in place, I'm not unscrewing the ball from the top either. So that prevents that by me holding the ball in place and holding it, putting downward pressure on it while I'm cleaning it. I'm gonna have to go back to the parlor tomorrow morning, to get to convince Gio to change out this curved barbell in favor of a captive ring. I would rather have a ring in my ear than to deal with this crap, okay? I'm not necessarily mad at anyone. He did what he felt like was best for my piercing. I don't think he expected my cartilage or my, to swell up as much as it did, because when the other gentleman guided the longer bar, which is in my ear now, in there, the day before yesterday, he had to pretty much apply pressure to my cartilage because it was filled with fluid. That's how swollen my ear was. It was filled with fluid, so he had to kind of apply a little bit of pressure in order to drain the fluid out of my swelling. So I can just imagine. I'm gonna have to go back in there tomorrow and endure that. But if it means I can get a captive ring instead, it's worth it. Okay. General Aftercare, same thing as my other ears. You just take a Q-tip dipped in sea salt solution, and you just gently go around the base of the piercing. Don't do any rigorous rotary motion like this, because you can unknowingly unscrew the ball and then it'll fall out, which is what I did with this tragus about a month ago. And I panicked, but since it's front facing and it's on the outside of my ear, I was able to pretty much screw this ball on. And the general rule for screwing metal balls onto your piercings is lefty loosey, righty tighty. That's the saying in the piercing industry when they're doing piercings. When you screw the ball to the left, that's how you loosen it. And when you screw the ball to the right, that's when you tighten it. So lefty loosey, righty tighty. So I thought that was kind of clever, but it helps me to remember in which direction I'm screwing my balls on, my metal balls onto my barbells in case they come off. But then I keep that in mind also when I'm cleaning around my piercings. But now I just dab and I just soak the Q-tip enough to where it can pretty much run down either side or around the base of my labret so that it can clean it. So yeah, just basic general aftercare. I just try to stay off of his ear as much as possible so I don't disrupt or dislodge this bar in my ear until I can get to the parlor tomorrow. And that's another thing. I upgraded my pillow. So I will be right back to show you what I sleep on now. And it's been heaven since, ever since I got it. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm going to show you guys what I lay on now. And it's been heaven since, ever since I purchased this. I got a little bit of makeup on this crap. It's really, really nice. I love this pillow. I purchased it from Walmart. Only paid $9.95 for it. And it's so It's my best friend now. I love my best friend. But it's really, really comfortable. This is my new neck pillow. This is in the color, I guess you can say blue, green, or teal. This side is kind of like velour or kind of velvet, like felt type of material, and it feels super soft, and it's just a dream to lay on. And then the other side is a different texture, to where this side is pretty much cool. When you lay on this side, it's just really, really nice. It has a cooling effect to it. I don't know what it is, but it feels really, really nice. And this is filled with microfiber beads, so that when you lay on it, like you squeeze into it, it conforms to your, your neck and your head shape, so that you can get a comfortable fit. Now, for those who are wondering why is it shaped so funny, there's a reason for it. This pillow is very unique in the sense to where it's a 2-in-1. It's a convertible pillow. You can convert this from a neck pillow into a regular small pillow. This right here has a snap attachment, to where if you're traveling, you can pretty much snap this together, and you can hang this on your carry-on or your luggage as you're going through the airport or boarding the plane or whatever it is you're doing. And where you can convert this is at the top. There's a zipper right there. Like I said, I got some makeup there, so I'm going to have to wash that off. This is easy to clean also, because I did spill some juice on this one day, and I cleaned it up with a soft cloth in soapy water, and it cleaned up like a dream. But up here is the zipper, and I'm going to show you how I convert this pillow. So you just open it up, and inside is some extra material that looks like this, and it's empty. Okay, there's nothing in it. All the microfiber is in this part of the pillow. So if you turn it over and convert it, you can actually hear all of the microfibers coming into this area. Now this area is flat, and all I do is just take this and fold it up. This is how I do it. Or you can just stuff it in there, it doesn't matter. You stuff it into the zipper part like this, and bam, you got a regular neck pillow. And then you just zip it up. How neat is that? Like, this is the coolest thing ever. There were 2 other options that I saw in the store that I really liked. One was like a dark navy blue, but it had memory foam, and it was soft and it was nice. The other one was maybe $1 or 2 more, like $10 or so. That one was also, no, that one was microfiber, and it had a little cell phone pocket on the side of the pillow that you can insert your phone into. But I like this one for the fact that it's a 2-in-1 pillow. So once my piercings are healed, I can sleep on them directly. And the reason why it won't affect my ears is because this is microfiber beads, and it conforms to your head, or to the shape of your head. So it wouldn't affect my piercings whatsoever. But I absolutely love this. This pillow is just really, really cute, and it feels so good. And it also has a snap side attachment or loop right there, to where you can hang this on your luggage, once again, if you're traveling with this. But this pillow has been an absolute dream. I've been sleeping like a baby on this thing. The donut, the other donut that I had, it was okay, but it was a little bit too firm, and I didn't care for it because it didn't conform to my neck. Like, I was sleeping on the bottom half of the donut right here in my neck, and it was kind of uncomfortable, and my head wasn't really laying into the center of the donut, so it was a little bit of a problem. You can convert this right back. Just allow the microfiber beads to flow back into this part of the pillow. Fold it up and stuff it back in there, just like that, as you can see, and zip it up. That's why it has this unique shape right there. It's the other corner of the pillow that's attached to the other part that's inside of here. One misconception people have about one thing that I wanted to address is hypertrophic scarring or piercing bumps. People like to say that they're keloids, but they're not. Keloids are something that is unique to certain people who develop unusual scarring after an injury of some sort, and they develop raised scars that don't go away. 9 times out of 10, you have to get them removed by a doctor, and then even in most cases they can grow or come back. which is why when I see some YouTubers on here talking about their piercings and they refer to piercing bumps as keloids, it kind of irritates me because that's not what it is. Technically, they're just hypertrophic scarring or a result of the ear suffering an injury at the site of or the base of the piercing, and it develops a small bump off to the side of it, which is what the issue was with this piercing up here. I really don't care if y'all see my lace, but if you look back here, I have like a raised bump on one side, if you can really see that. I don't know if you can or not, but it's just starting to go down. It was really more swollen, like more swollen than this, and I wouldn't recommend anybody else do this, but this is what I did for me in order to heal it, because I was putting tea tree oil on it twice a day. It went down a little. It wasn't going down enough. So what I decided to do was to just get a sharp sterilized needle that I sterilized and sanitized, and I went in and I pricked the bump, you know, and it was a hypertrophic scar or a piercing bump that was off to the side of my ear. I went ahead and I pricked it open, and blood and clear fluid just came flowing out. So it was pretty much trapped in the piercing bump, and it didn't have no way of escaping or getting out. So it was causing all of that pressure on the back of my ear, and it wouldn't go, you know, it drain off on its own. So I had to basically, you know, take a needle and prick it open in order to get the blood and fluid out. It has gone down significantly. However, it's still filling up with some fluid, so I probably have to go back in and do it again. But it was making me very uncomfortable to wear my piercings, because the side of my jewelry would rub off on, you know, the side of the piercing bump, because this would be my piercing, right? And the bump would be sitting right there on the cusp or the lip of that, like that. And that's what this is back here. So anytime I put a piercing into there, it would irritate the side of that bump that's, you know, hanging on to the rim of the opening of my piercing site, and it would irritate it so bad. So I felt like the best solution for me was to, you know, prick it open, get the fluid out, and then I resumed putting tea tree oil on it twice a day after cleaning it with either antibacterial soap or pure soap. I use Ivory because my skin is sensitive, and that's what I bathe with anyway. So I decided to use Ivory soap in order to clean the piercing after I pierced it open, and then I went ahead and, you know, dried it up, and then started putting tea tree oil on it. Now it's gone down so significantly that it isn't an issue for me anymore. But it's a misconception in the, you know, piercing community here on YouTube that they call them keloids, and they're not keloids. They're hypertrophic scars, piercing bumps, they're more commonly referred to as. So I just wanted to clear that up. And another thing is, you don't want to put cheap jewelry into your fresh piercings, because piercings that are not made of a high quality metal, as well as what they pierce your ears with, it could tear your cartilage up, and it can make the inside of your piercing really jagged and rough, to where it irritates your piercing, so that if you put low quality jewelry in there, or even high quality jewelry in there, it will irritate your piercing if your piercer didn't use, you know, high quality, high grade surgical steel needles to, you know, pierce your ears with. And then if they're not of the finest material, it's gonna hurt when you get your piercings, which it shouldn't, which lets you know that they may be using some kind of low grade metal quality needles that they're driving through your ear, and that's not good. Definitely stay away from piercing guns. I wouldn't recommend or even wish that on my worst enemy, okay? They're not sanitary because they can't be sanitized, and what they're doing is, instead of driving something that's clean and sterile that will make a straight, smooth piercing into your ear, they're driving a blunt object, which is a post, an earring post through your ears. And what that does is it tears up your skin cells, as well as the delicate tissues inside your ear, as well as your cartilage. It makes it kind of rough, and that's the reason why it's more painful, and it takes longer to heal. So I would not recommend anyone do an earring gun. I stay the hell away from earring guns, because that's what caused all of this problem up here with this piercing that I've been complaining about. I went to the piercing pagoda in the mall and let them pierce my cartilage. Ever since they did that, I've been catching hell with this ear, okay? It did not stop giving me a problem until just recently, when I did a little research and I talked to my piercer, and he told me what it was. So I wouldn't recommend a piercing gun. Don't do that to yourself. If you love yourself, go to a professional piercer. Have them to use a high quality grade surgical steel needle that is sharp. If it's sharp, you're not going to feel it, okay? So I wouldn't recommend an earring gun on anybody. Like I said, not even my worst enemy, because that gun scares the hell out of me. I don't want nothing to do with it. I don't want to go near it. After what I just went through with this one right here, this hole right here, no, I'm not doing any more piercing guns. Okay, that's out. There's just only one more piercing that I want to get, and that's my upper helix over here, because it's a little naked over here. I got piercings here. I got 5 over here. I just want something on my flat, like right up in there. Other than that, I'm pretty much satisfied with my piercing. So I hope this video was beneficial to those who are considering getting curated ears or ear piercings. I'm addicted to them, to tell you the truth. I'm always on Instagram, you know, looking through hundreds of pictures on curated ears, because I think they're so beautiful and they're unique to, you know, the individual that gets them. And like I said, I only got one more that I'm going to get, but I really enjoy my piercing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and until the next time, I will check in with y'all later. Bye. What's up, guys? I'm back from the piercing parlor. I have to excuse my hand because it's in the way. And I was accompanied by my friend. And it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Once I get home, I'm gonna clean it though. Right now, it's just warm and it's just a little throbby, but other than that, it doesn't hurt. Gio was kind enough to take a picture of my piercing after he was done. So I will check in with you guys later, because we're going to get a bite to eat. Okay, I'll check in with you guys later. Bye.